The minority in Parliament say they will resist any attempts by the Speaker to prevent them from speaking on issues on the floor. For them, any such move would not be entertained on the floor. The last meeting was characterized by infighting between the minority and the Speaker over procedural issues. The effect was a lot of walkouts with the Speaker's partiality called to question. The second meeting of Parliament started today, and the group served notice they will fight off any action that seeks to silence them. Minority Chief Whip Mohammed Muntaka Mubarak has been speaking to my colleague Elton Brobe.
We are more than happy to cooperate with the Speaker to help the Speaker to run the House. I mean, it's our responsibility, but we want to do that within the rules. I mean, I keep saying that if we all adhere to the rules, it will create harmony, because obviously you give me the space to speak, and where I'm going SS, you use the rules to stop me. But where you want to play smart, you want to close the doors for me to be able to speak. When I know if we vote, I'll lose. Obviously, you will be forcing me to do the unconventional things to be heard, and we all don't like it. So we are hoping that we adhere to the rules. We'll all keep the relationship, because one of the things that helps in leadership in Parliament, having been there for some time, is when we talk to each other. So we agree. Where we have disagreement, we state it. And you allow me to state my disagreement on the floor. But where we have a meeting and I indicate to you where I disagree with you, then because of that, you try to use that opportunity to block me so that I don't get heard on the floor. Obviously, it will create an acrimonious situation. It is our hope that all of us have used the recess to reflect on all what has happened in the previous meeting, so that we'll chart a new path where we adhere to the rules, we'll allow each other space, we'll listen to each other, so that the House will have a lot of harmony. Because obviously we can't agree on everything, but even where we disagree, we need to have respect for each other and know that we will operate within the confines of the rules of the House.
But the Majority Chief Whip Kwesi Amaya-Treme says the minority must simply respect the rules of the House.
Both sides, plus the Speaker, we should have a common understanding of what we do in the House. They want to speak, let them speak. They want to have their say, let them have their say. However wrong they may be, let them vent out whatever issues that they have. If there's a need to respond to those issues that they bring up, we shall accordingly respond to them.
Do you think the Speaker was hard on them in the last meeting?
I don't think so.
That is their, conclusion.
That is their conclusion, but I don't think so. I hold a contrary view. But all in all, we don't have to portray ourselves as people who are always fighting in the chamber to the outside world for what I call very, very minute matters, disagreements. Then we overblow it out of proportion, and the public thinks that nothing is working in Parliament. Those are matters that I think we can suppress in this meeting.
The Speaker, Michael Quay, is however calling for decorum and respect for the chair as the House considers several bills. He is warning members to desist from discussing parliamentary matters in the media.
There's definitely no one in this honorable House who fears media, because without that you won't be here. Because you need to communicate with people before you even get elected. But at the same time, we must be very careful about matters pending before the House, which become subject matter of comment, particularly before even the matter comes before us. The media can never be a pre-trial chamber for honorable members of Parliament, nor a substitute for this honorable House in terms of deliberation on affairs of state. And if we do that, we lower our own dignity and we do our people the service. Therefore, let's know how to maintain the thin line of discretion in this regard.
The second meeting of Parliament began today with the Right to Information Bill first on the agenda for consideration. But despite the prominence given to it, though, there are fears it may not get the needed attention on the floor of the House because more work needs to be done on it before presentation. Now, the bill, which was drafted in 1999, reviewed in 2003, 2005 and 2007 and presented to Parliament in 2010, is yet to be passed, having survived 3 speakers and 3 parliaments already. Minority Chief Whip Mohammed Muntaka Mubarak tells Joy News the bill may suffer further delays this sitting.
We promise that we are going to do the best that we can to get members to attend on time and in their numbers, and to also cooperate with you so far as our rules are concerned and consensus that we are able to build to solidify the effort by this House to get, especially as you yourself mentioned, the Right to Information Bill passed and many other items that were left in the last meeting that we intend to bring on board. The Speaker, we assure you of the minority's cooperation to ensure that together we'll build a very formidable Parliament and to strengthen our democracy.
Majority Leader Oseche Mensah Bonsu, however, wants the House to prioritize the RTI bill.
The Speaker, just to remind members that in this meeting we're going to have a very tall order. There are about 49 or so bills in incubation. Certainly we may not be able to deal with all 49. We may have to prioritize. And as the Speaker has alluded to, the Right to Information Bill is before us. We have the Integrated Bauxite and Aluminium Authority Bill to deal with. We also have the Land Bill. These are among the many bills that, as I've said, a few have come to us, but the rest of them, over 45 of them, are still in incubation. As and when they come out, we may have to deal with them.
Speaker Professor Michael Quay says the Legal and Constitutional Committee of Parliament would have to fast-track the process so the House can consider the bill.
Honourable members, I assure you once more of my preparedness and that of the leadership to make your work easy during this meeting. I will also appreciate if all referrals before committees of the House are expeditiously worked on and submitted to plenary for consideration. We have set a record of performance in many areas of parliamentary work. I trust that we shall continue to maintain and improve upon this. In this regard, I will appeal to joint committees on constitutional, legal, and parliamentary affairs. We've already done a great deal of work during the recess on the Right to Information Bill 2018 to make a report as quickly as possible in order for us to deliberate thereon. I trust that we shall be found worthy of our hire at the end of the session.
Government has dismissed justifications of the multi-billion cedi mobile money interoperability contract awarded IT firm Sipton Switch in 2016, describing it as unjustified extortion. The platform, which among others enables mobile money subscribers to send money to other subscribers irrespective of their networks, was launched last week at an estimated cost of $4.5 million, a fraction of the 4.6 billion cedis that would have accrued to Sipton Switch. A former Deputy Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Esiama, on Monday told a news conference it will be inappropriate to compare the platform launched last week to what was initially intended, as it had a much broader scope and so could not have cost the same. Deputy Information Minister Kojo Nkrumah at a news conference on Tuesday said Dr. Esiama's claim is untenable and that government successfully saved the taxpayer $1.2 billion by abrogating the shifting switch deal.
The charge was to develop an interoperability platform that will enable seamless transfers first across mobile networks, and then banks, and then on e-switch accounts. No one can therefore justify how you would then add something else or claim to add something else which is not requested for, and you agree that the developers should charge mind-blowing amounts for it. If you look at the price differential between 1.2 billion and 4.5 million, that's a factor of about 267 times. So you see, suggesting that the scope was 267 times bigger than the current scope. What was involved in this extra work to have justified that amount? A mere mouthing that the scope was wider means nothing. If he intends to make that claim, he will have to do better and showcase the extra scope and how it justifies the 267 times the current cost. The claim that is being made that the cost of the project is actually $300,000 is untenable. The fact is that the government of Ghana in that old transaction was literally asked to stay behind, and the money was to be paid by the ordinary users, and that even makes matters more suspicious, and I'll explain to you why. The previous administration, acting through the Bank of Ghana, essentially what they did was that they agreed that the company Septon should charge the users of the platform. And who are the users of these platforms predominantly? These are market women, farmers, drivers, people in the lower to middle class are those who massively use these platforms that have been rolled out. Their arrangement was that the company Septon should charge these people $1.2 billion. That's essentially what they did. Currently, under this new arrangement, what we have said is that government through the Bank of Ghana, through GIPS, is paying $4.5 million. And the Ghanaian, at the end, this market woman, this driver, this person who predominantly uses this platform, does not need to pay a private company $1.2 billion for their profit. This is a big savings to the people of Ghana. The Akufo-Addo administration at this stage is pleased to have had the opportunity to engage all the stakeholders to correct what would have been an unjustified extortion from the good people of Ghana if the old deal had not been abrogated. And we think that instead of attempts to justify these actions, persons who were involved in the old transaction should be patriotic and rise up to the gains that the nation is making under the new arrangement. By continuing on a path of justification, what some of these persons are telling us is that if they are given the opportunity today, they will still go for the Septon deal, even after all the evidence has been made available that it was a bad deal.
He said the former deputy governor's claims that the Economic and Organized Crimes Office found nothing untoward about the shifting switch contract are untrue.
For the avoidance of doubt, there is no ECOWAS report out there that claims that the Septon deal is the best deal. There's no such report. Some persons who were displeased with the transaction petitioned ECOWAS, and ECOWAS looked into whether or not the procurement process was breached. But ECOWAS has not pronounced that that old model that cost Ghana about would have cost Ghana about 1.2 billion was the best model. Therefore, running to it or running to that as refuge that ECOWAS has even sanctioned the deal cannot be acceptable. Finally, this claim that the Septon deal is a Bank of Ghana transaction and therefore should not be politicized, again, cannot be accepted. This is because the Bank of Ghana belongs to the government and people of Ghana. All that they do is subject to review by the people of Ghana. The people of Ghana includes political actors who also have liberty to comment on what has been done by the Bank of Ghana.
In another development, government says it has communicated its strongest displeasure to the U.S. government about the dehumanizing treatment meted out to some Ghanaian deportees from the U.S. Deputy Information Minister Kwadwo Nkrumah says government has written to the U.S. authorities Ghana will no longer countenance such inhumane acts from the U.S. government.
Government has taken note of these concerns, and we wish to announce to the Ghanaian people that government has indicated strongly to the United States government our abhorrence for such inhumane treatment. We have expressed to the United States government that the government and the people of Ghana will no longer countenance such acts from the United States government. We wish to assure the Ghanaian people that government will act at all times to protect the rights and the dignity of Ghanaians everywhere.
We're taking a break here and join News Prime. But still ahead, lawyers for former COCOBOD CEO accused the Economic and Organized Crimes Office of harassing their client by using all means possible to freeze his assets. We'll be back in a bit. Lawyers for former COCOBOD CEO Dr. Stephen Opuni have accused the Economic and Organized Crime Office of harassing their client by using all means possible to have his accounts frozen. Lead counsel Samuel Kujo argued at an Accra High Court on Tuesday the investigative body was behaving like a monstrous creature, ensuring that Dr. Opuni's rights are infringed. Uyoko has over the past 14 months secured 2 court orders freezing the former COCOBOD boss's account, with his lawyers currently battling in court to overturn the latest order. There is more in the following report.
In April 2018, lawyers for Dr. Opuni obtained an order from an Accra High Court granting him access to their accounts. The accounts are held in various branches of Barclays and EcoBank. Yoko first froze the 2 in February 2017 when it commenced investigation into some fertilizer contracts at COCOBOD. Dr. Opuni's lawyers say this has made it difficult for him to fend for himself. On April 23, 2018, when lawyers for Dr. Opuni made a request for defreezing of the account, the Economic and Organized Crime Office did not oppose the application. However, barely 24 hours after the court had granted Dr. Opuni access to the accounts, Yoko filed an application for the accounts to be frozen once again. Lead lawyer for Dr. Opuni on Tuesday accused the investigative body of harassment. He said, quote, "They have failed to show the account is tainted. Yoko has now not only become a monster, but a Frankenstein. They are aware he hasn't been charged with any offense which will require confiscation of his assets." End quote. He explained to the court the only amount in the 2 accounts Yoko had described as tainted was 25,000 cedis he is said to have received from businessman Seydou Agongo. Lawyer Kujo said it cannot be the basis for the accounts to be frozen. Lawyer for the investigative body Jacqueline Avotri disagreed. She insisted Yoko acted within law when it requested for the accounts to be frozen. Asked about whether Yoko had not concluded investigations, Lawyer Avotri said the investigations was a process and could be in various phases. Yoko, she argued, was acting within law when it decided not to oppose the motion for defreezing. The case was adjourned to May 16 for lawyers of Yoko to complete their oral submission. The High Court judge is also expected to fix a date to give her ruling on the matter. This will either mean Dr. Opuni will have access to his accounts or whether it will remain frozen.
A 33-year-old man, Joshua Asante, is in the grips of the Tema police for allegedly engaging in a police recruitment scam. The suspect, Joshua Asante, is alleged to have posed as an assistant commissioner of police in charge of recruiting personnel for the Ghana Police Service and reportedly succeeded in collecting more than 6,000 Ghana cedis from church members who wanted to join the police force. Luck, however, eluded him when some disgruntled victims reported the issue to the police at Ashaman. Correspondent Kwame Yanka has filed this report.
Scams within the Ghana Police Service is not new. Over the past few years, the service has had to deal with unscrupulous individuals defrauding members of the public, assuring them they'll be able to join the police force. According to police in Tema, Joshua's victims grew apprehensive despite assurances from the suspects that they would be enlisted. The Tema Regional Police PRO DSP Joseph Dakwa says the suspect will be arraigned soon.
The Tema Regional Police Command has arrested a 33-year-old suspect, Joshua Asante, who posed as an assistant commissioner of police, and in so doing, he succeeded in collecting various sums of money from his victims, who were mainly his church members, under the pretext of enlisting them into the Ghana Police Service. Now, this suspect, Joshua Asante, when he was arrested, claimed to be a student from Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. But after investigation, we realized he's just a graduate from a senior high school who is teaching in a private school at Ashiama.
DSP Joseph Dakwa is cautioning Ghanaians against engaging people who claim they are recruitment agents for the Ghana Police Service.
We want to stress that we don't have any middlemen who recruit for police. Therefore, we are also pleading with the general public that under no circumstance should anybody pay any amount of money to anybody under the pretext of being enlisted into the Ghana Police Service.
The police is hopeful prosecution of the suspect, Joshua Asante, will serve as a deterrent to others. Kwame Yankash reports for Joy News.
Residents of Tesano, Santana in Accra are demanding the closure of the Amugas filling station that exploded, killing one person and leaving 3 others in critical condition last week. The assemblyman for the area, meanwhile, says he has initiated a process that will ensure permanent closure of the facility. Nancy Emefa-Chiradozi visited the area and reports.
The explosion at the Amogas filling station in Tesano, Santana in Accra claimed 1 life and injured 2 others who were in critical condition. Residents here have been paying tribute to a man named Kwesi, who they say lost his life trying to fight the fire. Residents are demanding the closure of the gas filling station to avert any of such tragedy in the future.
Me pese ye tu omo free ha baby ombe ko bia ye bedu omo cha ko fill gas no because the omo di gas no see.
We want them out of this area. We are willing to follow them anywhere to fill our gas. We just don't want them here. I'm unable to sleep nor eat, all because of fear. This is not the first time this is happening.
Your problem ni say gas no ayade bia high en obroni isu ha.
The only problem I have with this area is the sighting of these gas stations around. I am afraid. We just want them to go.
Enti no sra na ye sra yen pese bi besi biem. Yen so anu ansana bibi asesi biem.
Bebia gas filling station no one dey mesre omonyin fi ha efise.
I'm begging the authorities to remove this gas station because there are lots of filling stations in one area. We share a wall with them. I had to run out naked the last time it happened. Even my daughter had to forcefully deliver when she wasn't due.
The assemblyman for the area, Sidi Talikai Adam, is in support of the residents' demand. He has already initiated a process that will see to the closure of the gas filling station.
Actually, I spoke with the BNI, the police, the National Fire Service, the EPA yesterday, that I told them I want to have a meeting with the director. And then I called on the police to give me the report. I spoke with the fire service to quickly give me their report with the NADMO, so that I will have a meeting with the EPA, then I'll start. Because we need to make sure the building permit itself, he has to provide it. Who gave him the permit? How did the permit was acquired? So I have to go process one after the other.
He blames the Environmental Protection Agency for the accident, claiming officials of the EPA failed to do due diligence before issuing a permit to the operator.
When I called my NADMO, I was Municipal Assembly NADMO, when he came here, the EPA wasn't trying to liaise with them. So that is why I quickly have to see to their director and then see the process that Amogas was being given the permit here.
Nancy Emefa-Chiradozi, Joy News.
We'll take a break now to bring you business news with Emmanuel Abajuefe.
Hello again, good evening to you. Time now for business. The Bank of Ghana would soon issue another fresh set of banking regulations to help strengthen the banking sector. Second Deputy Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Elsie Awazi, disclosed this in an interview at the Graphic Business Tambik Bank Breakfast Series in Accra.
The public feels that we should be intervening sooner than later and sanction appropriately when needs be, and that we should not wait for too long in the face of violation of our rules. And that's a fair point. And we take that point, and we're going to make sure, as we've already started doing, that banks do not get away with behavior that is inconsistent with the rules, and that we as a central bank and as a regulator, we would enforce the rules early enough and not forbear, and we would ensure that we take appropriate action as needed to protect deposits.
Madam, you spoke about in your presentation about some new set of rules that will be rolled out soon to more revive confidence in the bank. How soon will these new sets of the fit and proper rule as well? How soon will these laws be in place for all of us in attempt to ensure and tell the depositor that everything is safe and is sound?
You saw that in March, we issued our corporate governance guidelines. We're working on our fit and proper test requirements, and we think that by June or July, we should have them out. At the same time, we're working on our risk management guidelines, which should be coming out around the same time. We're expecting the banks to also comply with the Basel II and III capital framework, which we've already rolled out, and we're expecting that as of July, they would start implementing them.
And all these things you believe that would help revive the confidence that we are all looking for to tell everyone out there that the sector is safe and is sound?
Absolutely. With stronger capital comes more resilient banks. At the same time, with strong corporate governance and strong risk management systems, ensures that the capital is used well, is put to use, and banks are behaving in a way that is prudent, and that makes sure that the capital isn't lost due to undue risks that they take. And so we believe that altogether these measures will go a long way to ensure that banks are well governed, banks are managing their risks properly, they're well capitalized, they're doing good business, they're profitable, and they're sustainable.
Now, government wants Parliament to ratify double taxation agreements as well as the prevention of fiscal evasion with respect to taxes on income and capital gains between Ghana and 4 other countries. Countries include the Kingdom of Morocco, the Republic of Mauritius, the Republic of Singapore, and the Czech Republic. The former Deputy Minister of Finance, who is also the minority spokesperson on finance in Parliament, Kessiel Atto-Forson, is however kicking against the decision. He thinks it will offer an opportunity for some offshore companies to avoid payment of taxes.
My concern obviously relates to the number of agreements this government intends to sign with the countries involved. Today we've been called upon to ratify up to 4 double tax agreements, but avoidance of double tax agreements in respect to income and capital gains. I think government will have to have a rethink about that. I'm not against double tax agreement with a country, but I'm also concerned that before you sign double tax agreement with any country, there's the need for us as a country to assess the level of investment, okay, in that country. We also need to assess how much indeed is going to cost us, and then also to find out whether Ghanaian businesses are also going to benefit from those countries. But from the countries that I'm saying, today we've been called upon to approve one relating to Morocco, Czech Republic, Mauritius, and then Singapore. How many Ghanaian companies are actually going to benefit from Morocco and Czech Republic? In spite of that, if you take countries like Mauritius and then Singapore, we know that they are tax haven countries, okay? Mauritius in particular, tax haven countries. So my concern is it that some offshore entities are hiding behind the push, okay? Lobbying in such a way that they will come and invest in Ghana and to erode the tax base by using the fiscal, the double tax agreement, and to get away from paying taxes. So what we are saying is that in the coming days, we in the minority will be doing assessment on this matter. We think that there's the need for us to assess this matter because obviously it has caught our eyes, and for them to approve 4 DTAs, request Parliament to approve 4 DTAs, we have to look at it, because overall, since independent, how many DTAs do we have in place? I think it's about 9. So if we have 9 DTAs in place, how many successive governments? And then within a day, they are laying 4 more DTAs. We have to investigate that and come out.
Now, 5,000 housing units are set to be constructed in the Ashanti region over the next 5 years through a Ghanaian-Dutch collaboration. CEO of Daniwise Estate and Construction, Frank Abwaje Danyansa, says the move will create over 3,000 direct jobs. Ghana's housing deficit has persistently been estimated at over 1.7 million. Officials of the Ghana Real Estate Developers Association, GREDA, say the collaboration is critical to help reduce the huge housing deficit the country is facing. Prince Appiah has more in this report.
The $200 million project is being undertaken by Danny Wise Estate and Construction and Netherlands investor Kyla Euro BV. Chief Executive of Danny Wise Estate and Construction, Frank Abuajide Nyansa, says the project will create over 3,000 direct jobs.
Then it is a $200 million project, which we are starting about 600 houses in the first year. With the 600 houses, it's $20 million with a mixture of 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom housing units. We will also take 100 houses to Adansi Fomina, where we would want to give civil servants within the Adansi enclave the opportunity to also own houses and pay in a mortgage system for a period of 15 to 20 years. This is the first time by a private developer in this country starting about 5,000 housing units within a period of 5 years. This project is going to create employment, and per our analysis, we are going to create over 3,500 direct jobs.
Ghana's housing deficit has since 2000 been estimated at over 1.7 million housing units. Mr. Nyansa says the project is aimed at providing opportunity for lower income earners to acquire affordable houses.
It is to give the lower income opportunity to buy properties. The less privileged is my target, and I know that civil servants whose salary are not too good, anything to write home about, will be able to purchase.
Stakeholders from the housing industry and players from both parties met in Kumasi to sign a memorandum of understanding to ensure the project is successfully executed. CEO of Kyla Euro BV, Dick Van Druten, says Ghana has a conducive business environment for investment in the housing sector.
I think that there is a good momentum to invest right now into this country. The unemployment is decreasing, the inflation is decreasing, oil prices are rising. The economy is growing, so many aspects are very good. Obviously, there are always challenges, but we think with the right momentum to step in and get commitment from the investment partners that support us in this venture.
Executive Secretary of Ghana Real Estate Developers Association, GRIDA, Same Amegayubo, addressing stakeholders, says the initiative is critical to address the housing deficit, especially in northern Ghana.
The project here in the middle belt of Ghana is quite refreshing to GRIDA, as it will address the share of the total housing deficit that we are confronted with in Ghana. There are two main issues that come to mind when such massive projects is to take place, and that is land, in fact they are three: land acquisition, funding, and basic infrastructure.
Prince Appiah reporting.
Financial Technology Hub, PaySwitch Solutions and Technologies, is calling for more upgrades on the mobile interoperability system in order to meet up with growing demand. President of the company, Nathan Anobi, has been sharing with Joy Business how the company hopes to use new systems to make the first phase of the mobile interoperability more successful.
Government mobile money interoperability can be sustained if technologies meant to facilitate the process continue to be upgraded to meet demand. That's according to President and Chief Operating Officer of PaySwitch Company Limited, Nathan Anobi, who says his outfit is ready to provide disruptive and innovative services in the payment system under the mobile interoperability.
What we have come to do, and our whole infrastructure is built to support digital banking. And what we mean digital banking is we're looking at a situation where people don't have to go to the traditional banks to deal with them, but you can do this online, you can do this on your phone, and have access at a POS at any point in time to be able to transact. For us, it's good news. For us, we've come to complement it, and I want to announce to say that we have been working 2.5 years just to get here, and we're ready for interoperability. We're ready to support it in any other way with government, with banks, without any other financial institution, including all the fintechs that are there. We have the right technology to be able to drive the needed.
Vice President and Chief Technical Officer of PaySwitch Company hinted of an innovative system by the company to make the mobile interoperability system work even without access to the internet or any mobile network.
Financial inclusion is not about location, honestly. Mobile money has done too well with USSD. My challenge is if we want to extend this much more, yes, it's going to happen on the internet. But then the northern sector, it's not as if they don't have connectivity. We are deploying solutions today that can even let you run financial services, even on edge. And I think in northern Ghana, you can get edge, you can get GPRS, for instance, which will also run. One thing we're looking to do as PaySwitch also is to create several other offline products and services of the same, channels. So agency banking becomes one of them, which will still leverage on the same platform. So I don't believe that boundary or location will, serve anything. It's just how we transform the technology that we have.
PaySwitch Company Limited provides integrated payment solutions that facilitates the circulation of money as well as the exchange of values between businesses on a timely and constant basis.
That's all in business on Joy News Prime tonight. Many thanks for watching. My name is Emmanuel Apuachi Riafi. There's more news ahead. Have a good evening.
Some card-bearing members of the governing New Patriotic Party residing within the Okankwe South constituency have given the party's National Executive Committee 5 days to conduct constituency elections or face their wrath. The group earlier Tuesday petitioned the office of the president, among others, demand that the president call to order presidential staffer Victor Newman, who they accuse of abusing his office in a way that could affect the electoral fortunes of the party. There's more in this report.
The group, who marched to the premises of Joy News after petitioning the National Executive Council of the NPP, say they have for years been denied constituency executive elections. They say they will disrupt the upcoming elections of national executives in the constituency if their demands are not met.
We have been denied to vote during the regional election. That has necessitated this particular protest. There were a section of people in our constituency, 5 of them, who have hijacked the constituency for the past years, and they have even made sure that they have prevented us from voting during the regional election. We have kept you for so long. You were expecting the region to come to our aid so that they will resolve this particular problem within, so that the problem will not escalate to date. They have closed their eyes on the blank side on our own case, region as well as national. We have petitioned the national, we've petitioned the presidency. We've given them 5 working days ultimatum to set up and then act accordingly. And if they do not, if the stipulated time elapses and there was no action, we, the constituents, will take the law into our own hands and elect or select our own leadership in the constituency.
They urged immediate action against the presidential staffer, Victor Newman.
The reason why we are saying is the brain behind all these things. He has a hand in whatever that is going on. This particular person used the office, the letterhead of the office of the presidency, to write a letter as an injunction on our petition in the region to hold on our election. We thought it's for the presidency, but under careful investigation, we saw that it was himself who wrote the letter himself, but not from the office of the president.
They say their petition is in the supreme interest of the party. Nancy Emefa Dradose, Joy News.
Meanwhile, aspiring chair of the governing MPP, Stephen team, has rejected the session that President Akufo-Addo's failure to endorse his candidature is affecting his electoral fortunes. The team earlier alleged that President Akufo-Addo met him on 3 occasions and appealed to him to step down for Alhaji Abubakar Abdulrahman. But speaking to Mr. Team, who has contested for the national chairmanship position on 3 different occasions, he said he now has the blessings of the president to contest. He's been speaking to Kwesi Parker-Wilson.
Nana Addo went through similar admonishments. Okay, he persevered and he became president eventually. Kufuor, same. He also persevered. He became president. Why not in team?
And this 4th time is in team.
Yeah. In their case, Kufuor's one was 2 times, Nana Addo 3 times, mine is 4 times. That's my destiny, 4 times.
What do you say that already we are hearing information that there were some big wigs of the party who are not throwing their weight behind you despite your sacrifice you made for the party, and they are pitching you against the delegates? Isn't that affecting your campaign in any way?
Can you name one? I don't know about any one of them.
That you mean the delegates, they are not pitching you against the delegates?
They are saying big wigs. Can you name one of those big wigs? I don't know.
I mean, of course, I can mention, of course, a tape with secret recording or an interview you granted a colleague at Asempa FM, clearly stating that the president does not really support you.
Get into this already resolved issue. We have gone beyond these things, and now everybody understands that Tim has the blessing of the president to continue with his campaign. So why do we want to go back and attempt to unravel that case?
So that has been resolved. How was it resolved? Because we never heard anything about that.
Everybody's campaigning. That's all.
And they say that public declaration by the president clearly is affecting your campaign.
Please, I told you I don't want to get into this issue. But no, at all. Why would they be saying Tamasun? But did the president make any public declaration? No.
The Nungwa Traditional Council has cautioned the public about engaging in land transactions with the Nungwa traditional priest Wulomo Kuno Bokete Lawe True, saying they do so at their own peril. At a news conference in Accra, the paramount chief of the Nungwa Traditional Area, King Professor Udaifu Welenchi III, accused the chief priest of organizing an illegal task force to stop people from developing their lands. He also accused the priest of arrogating to himself powers he does not deserve.
The public is further noticed that one Wolumoko Nobokete Lawechru, who claims to be Babulomo, Shinche, an overlord of the Gadangwi, is completely false. An office which has never existed before in the history of the Gadangwis. His assertion, for that matter, should be treated with impunity. Nobody should recognize him with that office, and furthermore, not to allow him meddle into their affairs, especially land issues. He has organized illegal task force, that's a group of people who parades on the jurisdiction of the Nungwa lands, stopping people from either development or further development to produce documents to him. Can you imagine? Ewulomo sending people to stop people from development for them to bring their documents to him for authentication and regularization. Then what will be the work of the chief? The council by this press conference is warning the general public that anyone who deals with the said Wolumoko Nobokete Lawechru in respect of land issues does so entirely at his or her own risk. And anyone who has taken a grant of interest in any portion of the said Nungwa's lands obtained nothing by such grant and must appear before the land committee of the Nungwa Traditional Council for authentication and regularization where possible.
The Ghana National Petroleum Tanker Drivers Union says it will bear its teeth at government over what it describes as deliberate attempts by some industry players to shortchange its members. For a decade, the drivers have drummed home their concerns over ill treatment meted out to them by all marketing companies. Chairman of the union, George Nyanu, says their concerns have over the years received very little attention from stakeholders. was responding to questions over an ultimatum giving the Energy Ministry. Correspondent Kwame Yanka has filed this report.
The ultimatum letter draws the Energy Minister's attention to a specific task handed him by President Akufo-Addo last year. The president, according to the union at the time, tasked the Energy Minister to address underground shortage deliveries and other issues at bus depots, but has failed to do so.
We wrote this thing to the president, thinking that our leaders will come to our aid and address this issue so that we work amicably. But as I speak to you now, nothing has been done. And clearly speaking, my brothers, we know the situation in Ghana now. Even if you are on salary, your salary is how much? How much more you are not earning anything at the end of the month? That's how come we gave the ultimatum letter to the president.
George Nywanu says the National Petroleum Authority, NPA, which is the regulator, has also done little to address issues hampering their work.
A guideline to all of us. You understand? Yes. And one party is suffering. So I can see clearly that the NPA, NPA is not in a position to help the tanker drivers. We are not saying we are 100%. Tanker drivers, we are not saying we are 100%. But at least, let's go by the rules and regulations. So that if a driver is at fault, all of us will see that the driver is at fault.
Some of the drivers complain they have nothing to take home at the end of the month due to the ill treatment by stakeholders.
We write it on the EV. We have a sheet which the record is on it. When we get to the site, they're supposed to use that levels and that calibration. They're supposed to combine with the calibration set and then discharge the load. After discharging, they will come out and tell you they are having shortage underground there, which that tank, how it have been calibrated or how long it have been calibrated, I don't know.
They take us for granted. If you short so much, sometimes you will owe the company, your transporter. They will deduct your money from your salary, and you see there will be balance left that next month. If you don't short next month, you still have debt to pay.
The drivers are set to take their next line of action as the ultimatum elapses on Thursday. Kwame Yanka's report for Joy News.
Minister for Inner City and Zongo Development, Boniface Abubakar Sadiq, is questioning the rationale behind Morocco's decision to join the ECOWAS. Morocco left the African Union some time back over disagreement with the continental body and has reapplied to join the AU again. The decision to also join ECOWAS has raised eyebrows about the role the North African country wants to play on the continent and in the sub-region. Ifwa Evans Chinri reports.
Morocco officially expressed its will to join ECOWAS as a full member in February last year. This accession was agreed in principle by the regional communities of heads of state in June last year. However, the absence of debate in relation to the potential effect and outcomes of this accession has been noticed in Morocco as well as in the ECOWAS countries. A Moroccan and Ghanaian delegation met on Tuesday to discuss the inclusion of Morocco into ECOWAS and the way the process can be implemented without disrupting the West African collaboration. Minister for Inner City and Zongo Development, Abubakar Boniface Sadiq, says Morocco must be accepted wholeheartedly back to ECOWAS. But his main concern is whether they are coming back for genuine reasons.
Nobody will develop Africa apart from Africans. America was developed by Americans, Europe by Europeans, Japan by Japanese. Africa must be developed by Africans. So once it is done on them, to know that they are really Africans and are coming back home, I suggest that we should accept them wholeheartedly. First of all, are they genuinely coming back home? Because the point I'm making is that no bird can ever sleep in the skies because there's no place for you to perch. You certainly will come down. Even if they are gone to Europe, one day they will tell them that, look, you are not Europeans, you are Africans. And this one drags me to what our first president said. When Kwame Nkrumah led us into independence, what he said was that the independence of Ghana is meaningless unless it is linked up with the total liberation of African continent. And he went further to say, seek ye first and everything shall be added. So once you get your political independence, now you can go into your economic independence. This is what led dawn on the leadership of West African heads of states in somewhere in 1973, mooted the idea of ECOWAS. And ECOWAS is about trade. It's about we recognizing ourselves as Africans, free movement of goods and services, human beings everywhere. So it is so important that no country too can live in isolation, because Morocco couldn't have lived in isolation despite the fact that they have developed. At the end of the day, they will need the support of another country.
Colleague Benamu, one of the delegates, mentioned that the relationship between Ghana and Morocco will benefit immensely for Morocco's membership of the sub-regional group.
Morocco can bring value to ECOWAS in trying to meet the global economic scale. I mentioned value-added chains. I also mentioned the competition of resources and making sure that we have a model that is not backed by Morocco, but backed by a continent, that is also backed by a strategy that also involves the effect of climate change, the negative effect of climate change, the migration issues, the development issues, sustainability issues. So it's a global call, and I believe that if we don't come together north to south and closing in on ECOWAS to make sure that we are well integrated in the region, I do not believe that we'll be able to withstand what our past has taught us.
The Agriculture Ministry has rejected claims that the invasion of fall armyworms last year affected maize production, which has led to price hikes. There have been reports suggesting the devastation caused by the destructive pests resulted in low production, causing shortage of the staple. But technical advisor at the ministry, Emmanuel Asante-Krobia, says the assertions are not accurate. He has been speaking with journalist Hannah Odame on the sidelines of a forum on planting for food and jobs in Accra.
Grain price has gone up all over the world. It's a natural phenomenon. By the time we start harvesting maize, the price will go down. But although the price have gone up, so the price maize is available. Although it's scarce, so maize is available. When you go to the market, you can find maize on the market. Only that price have gone up. That is accepted, but it's a normal thing.
Are you ruling out completely any effect of the fall worm invasion?
Oh yeah, fall worm invasion did not significantly affect the maize that we produced. But really, when we take the whole percentage of maize produced in country and what the fall worm, the negative impact, it's less than 1%, which is not significant.
The head of the Geography Department at the University of Ghana, Professor Joseph Yarrow, says government must ensure the right procedures are duly followed before increasing the number of farmers to benefit from the Planting for Food and Jobs program. Even though some farmers have raised concerns about how the program is being implemented, government says it will scale up the program to target 500,000 farmers across the country this year. Professor Yarrow, however, says increasing the number of farmers on the program should be done in a way that will not cripple it.
We will be able to achieve it because we have planned the quantity of seed that 500,000 farmers can access. We have planned the quantity of fertilizer which 500,000 can access. And we have put all this on ground.
What's the work plan to achieve that?
The program has already begun. Farmers in the south have already started accessing fertilizer and seed. So as the season moves up north, those there too will also begin accessing the seeds and fertilizer. So the program is already on.
But what's the time frame? When should we know that at least all these 500,000 farmers have been covered?
By close of the minor season, somewhere in September, October, November, we'll be able to tell the number of farmers we have been able to reach.
Technical advisor at the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, Emmanuel Asante-Krobia, has meanwhile been explaining how government plans to achieve its target.
Good as long as they are able to meet them, because even last year of the 200,000, not many farmers opted, came out, maybe either as a result of poor education. So we hope that this year probably many people will know about it and will take advantage. And also, if they delink the main problem, that is the seed and fertilizer thing, also if they allow for the late payments, right?
which I doubt will be the case. They will still want to demand their money because, or else farmers will take it as a political program and would not pay.
Amnesty International Ghana says it will not apologize to the University of Education Winneba over its report highlighting human rights infractions at the university. It comes a week after the UEW demanded the apology over the Amnesty report it says has tarnished its image. Here's a report by Richard Kojunyako.
Relationship between the university and we staff is one of a cordial one. If there were problems, examinations wouldn't be going on peacefully. We have examinations currently ongoing, and all lecturers who have been assigned to invigilate, they are doing it without any problems. Because when you look at their statements, they are saying that they started the investigations in 2017. 2017, they only made contact with this university in April this year. And in that statement, they continue to say that they will compile a full report and make it public. So they only made contact with this university in April. Towards the end of April, management said they were going to get back to them. Management hadn't had the opportunity to get back to them. They went out to come out with a bogus and fraudulent report, which in all instances smacks of any kind of proper job.
Amnesty International says the university should rather address the concerns they raised about inhumane treatment meted out to lecturers there. Robert Akoto Amwafo spoke on the pulse with Gifty and Apia.
That's a lot of allegations against your report. First of all, tell us what really was the report, because it seems that there's a little bit of ambiguity here about exactly what was contained in that report. Tell us a bit about it.
So basically, what the news press conference sought to achieve was to draw the attention of the stakeholders we called on to a forced eviction that was ongoing at the university of one of the university staff who had reported the case that he's been abused. We got evidence or pictures from members of our organization of his door being removed, his things are out, his family sitting outside, whilst some people are removing the doors. And he, as the person who reported this issue, confirmed that yes, it is my home, and that is what is happening to my home. And it is something that we thought that it was out of the blues for us, because like we mentioned, or one of the people spoke in the news, we had sent a letter requesting for a meeting.
To the university?
To the university, both the university, because most of the accusations go to the acting vice-chancellor and then the council, the chair of the council. So specific letters were written, and we in the letters we stated that there have been mention of human rights abuses against certain people, and since they mentioned their names, we wanted to talk to them. So already we had made this contact to this individual.
The principal of the Jackson College of Education is making a passionate appeal to government to prioritize rural education in the country. According to Theodosia Jackson, Ghana's rural education has been neglected for far too long.
Educationist Theodosia Jackson believes, so far as students all over the country write the same final examination and are graded equally, there should be an equal playing field where all students are able to access the needed learning materials.
The fact that we don't set two sets of questions for city dwellers and village dwellers. Those in experimental schools, university practice schools, colleges, demonstration schools, and those in areas where there are no classrooms. Joy, you have exhibited a number of them. In this hinterland where they have never seen light and computer before, still they set ICT questions for all of them. They have never seen light before, they don't know computer. And if nothing is done about village dwellers, we will never solve the problem of streetism and armed robbery.
At a scholarship award ceremony for 39 brilliant but needy students, the principal of Jackson College of Education, Theodosia Jackson, called on government to, as a matter of urgency, address rural education in Ghana.
If we really need peace in Ghana, we should take a second look at education. And the education, to me, we should focus the villages where nobody wants to go. So where some of them have volunteered to go, we give them scholarship. People that are sacrificing to help Ghanaian children, we have identified, not all, but some of them, to help our nation Ghana.
Some beneficiaries of the scholarship say they will now be able to concentrate on their education without worrying about fees.
I'm from a village known as Kwapon, and it's a village under Kwapon to Akwasibi Krum, and from a cottage under Akwasibi Krum known as Akwasibi Krum, and it's too much. In fact, it's very, very, very sad. Without Jackson Foundation, I don't know where I might have been by this time. So I would say that thank God that I'm part of the foundation.
I'm surprised and excited at the same time because I never thought I would get this opportunity to school and work at the same time.
Joseph Amwako Dakwa's report for Joy News.
And in the headlines on Joy News, Prime Government dismisses justifications of the controversial multi-billion cedi mobile money interoperability contract awarded Septing Switch in 2016, describing it as unjustified extortion.
For seamless transfer.
Lawyers for former Kokobo CEO accused the Economic and Organized Crimes Office of harassing their client by using all means possible to freeze his bank account. There are calls for an end to hostilities between the minority and the Speaker as Parliament returns from recess. In business, Bank of Ghana declares intention to introduce new set of regulations to help strengthen and sanitize the banking sector. And MPP supporters in the Okakwe South constituency threatening to disrupt the upcoming national executive elections if they are not allowed to elect their constituency executives.